I'm Ryan Iverson, and this is the Investor Breakout Weekly Insight. Let's talk about what happened this week. This weekend, the focus of global small cap investing shifts to the Bahamas. The AlphaNorth Capital Event, hosted by CEM, is officially underway. In just one day, we're running over 1,200 speed dating style one-on-one meetings, matching top investors with growth stage companies. Around that, there's ample time to connect, compare notes, and build relationships, all set against the backdrop of the Bahamas. And it doesn't stop there. At the end of the conference, I will host the Investor Breakout Exchange. Each investor ranks their top 5 companies and explains exactly why they're watching them. We gather that data and publish the top 5 picks of the event in our newsletter. It's a fast, direct way to see which companies are turning heads and where real conviction is forming. With more than 80 investor perspectives in the room, the insight is immediate, intense, and incredibly valuable. Our first 3 events of the year are nearing or already sold out. We have a few spots remaining for the Whistler Capital Event in 3 weeks. If you're looking ahead, registrations are now open for our Bermuda and TSX Venture events this summer. And if you want to know which companies are turning heads before the results hit the charts, make sure you're following Investor Breakout. The fight over Fed independence just crossed a historic line. Tensions between the Trump administration and the Federal Reserve escalated sharply this week after the Justice Department launched a criminal investigation into Fed Chair Jerome Powell. Powell responded first in an extraordinary public video released Sunday night. He said the probe is not about a renovation project or his past testimony. He called it a pretext for political pressure, tied directly to the Fed setting interest rates based on economic data rather than presidential preference. Within 11 hours, global central banks stepped in. 11 major institutions, including the Bank of England, the European Central Bank, and the Bank of Canada, issued a rare joint statement backing Powell and warning that the central bank independence is a cornerstone of price, financial, and economic stability. This marks a clear shift. For months, Powell avoided confrontation. Now he's drawing a line, framing the probe as a direct threat to the Fed's independence. That raises a bigger question for markets. If monetary policy can be criminalized, does the Fed remain independent at all? So far, markets have stayed calm, but the stakes are very high. Undermining Fed independence risks higher inflation expectations, weaker investor confidence, and long-term damage to US credibility. The timing matters too. Powell's term as chair ends in May, and this fight could shape who replaces him and how future Fed leaders operate under political pressure. Oil is back on the move in early 2026, and geopolitics is once again doing the heavy lifting. After a rough 2025, prices are rallying as markets digest 2 major shocks: Venezuela coming back online and fresh instability in Iran. Brent crude and US WTI are both up more than nearly 7% over the past 5 trading sessions. That initial jump followed the US takeover of Venezuela's oil industry, a move that briefly rattled supply expectations. But as shipments resumed and traders adjusted, attention has shifted east. Iran is now firmly back in focus. Widespread protests against the regime have erupted across the country, raising new concerns about oil supply. If this feels familiar, it should. We flagged Iran's outsized influence on oil markets back in June, and the risk is resurfacing fast. Iran produces more than 3 million barrels per day, and holds over 200 billion barrels in proven reserves, ranking among the largest in the world. But the bigger issue is geography. Iran sits astride the Strait of Hormuz, the choke point that handles roughly 20 million barrels of oil per day. Any threat to that passage, even without a full shutdown, adds an immediate risk premium to prices. And that's before getting into Trump's latest tariff threats tied to Iran, nudging trade war tensions back into the picture. Right now, the market isn't pricing a worst-case scenario, but the direction is clear. As Venezuela stabilizes and Iran destabilizes, oil traders are recalibrating where the next supply shock could come from. For investors, this is a reminder that oil isn't just about supply and demand. It's about leverage, geography, and politics. And in 2026, those forces are back in the driver's seat. Follow the Investor Breakout and get the top 5 AlphaNorth Capital Event picks, powered by insights from over 80 professional investors. I'm Ryan Iverson, and we'll see you next week.